Holy freaking cow. Alright, we're going to recap everything from Drag Week 2023. Show you what was with Bailey's stuff, show you with Ned Dunphy's stuff, Alan, and Clark's stuff. Show you this exhaust guide deal that we had the problem with, where I had to take all 4 rocker arms off of one whole side of the head. All the exhaust valves were stuck open, and we drove the car for 40 miles like that. 40 miles, no rocker arms on one whole side. All the exhaust valves pinched into the guide. So, amazing thing. I didn't even think it would work. And we actually got up to like 53, I think we got to 53 miles an hour once. And down to like 20s going up hills. It was crazy. It's running on 4 cylinders on only one side of the engine. Absolutely amazing. But what had happened, now this engine, and I'm trying to figure out the exact sequence of why, because this is the same engine with the same exhaust guides and same valves as we ran in 2018 in one drag week with, and never had any problem with the cylinder heads. Still trying to figure out exactly what the difference is, what happened, or why. But what is physically happening is that we had taken the valves, taken the head off in the parking lot, and I had to beat the exhaust valves out of it. The exhaust valves were perfect. They weren't galled. They didn't have any marks on them. Nothing. They're titanium valve. That head back then, that's an old big block Chevrolet. That is not my SMX engine. It is an old big block Chevrolet from actually we built that engine in like 2012, 2013, and has been running all this time. All of a sudden, it has a valve guide problem. What is happening is that in this valve guide right here, this is what we call the valve guide protrusion into the port. Okay, now this is not Bailey's head. This is just a different head, but there's valve guide protrusion into the port. That portion of the valve guide has extreme heat on it. It has the correct full bronze guide, just like it has had for years. And what is going on is, because I didn't see any galling on the valve, I didn't even have to do anything with the valve. I polished it up with a little bit of 400 grit sandpaper just to get some black off of it. But it wasn't galled. It hadn't stuck in it that way. Is that I think that this guide is getting such excessive heat from hours upon hours upon hours of driving at a time. So we had already driven 500 miles, so this car had already been driving, basically driving down the road with like 1300 to 1400 degree exhaust temperature for approximately, probably was, all things considered, probably 12 hours or so. Here, with that protrusion through there, it gets so hot, it opens up when it's hot. And what we had done was, this thing, we pulled it into the checkpoint. The thing's purring like a kitten. Just super nice and perfect. Shut the car off, go over, talk to some guys, play around, dink around, come back. And I was out of the car, or I decided I was going to ride with in the milk truck, because my back hurt. So I'm going to ride in the milk truck. Nick, the driver of the milk truck, was going to ride with Bailey so he could experience it. And I heard him start it, and I heard it go. I mean, it's just like, what? And I figured, well, then Bailey took off, and I figured, well, it must have cleaned up. Nah, it didn't clean up. So I can't get out of the car with Bailey, because as soon as I get out of the car, it's broke. I'm just kidding. But it's what it seems like. So they stop, and lo and behold, what happens there is that guide had running. It was all open and loose, and as the engine cooled down, and in particular, not talking about water, or what the water temperature was in it, actually that little guide that's just sticking out there with a valve in it, when it cooled down, it went and clamped onto the valve. So when that valve guide clamped down on the valve. It was so tight that it would allow the valve to open because the push rod and the rocker arm are pretty stout, and it would close part way because it's got a ton of spring pressure on it, but it wouldn't close all the way. And when it got back up, it was about 200 thousandths, 300 thousandths open, just stuck there. And so I'm trying to think what the heck we're gonna do on it, trying to figure out what's going on. And it's like, oh man, all 4 of them are all stuck, and we're in the middle of Nowheresville. We're on the side of the road, no help. We had gotten off route because Bailey and Nick missed a turn, so we're not even on the route to even get help from people. And so I'm just struggling, trying to figure out what the heck I'm gonna do. And we were only 40 miles away from the hotel. And it's like, you know what? I can fix this thing in the hotel super easy. I'll find somebody to bring a valve spring compressor. Stevie Jackson, got a hold of him. He brought me a valve spring compressor and a valve guide hone to hone the valve guide out larger. So large, it's not even right. I don't even know why what's going on there, but it's too big. It technically has got way too much clearance. I understand turbo stuff. I understand all these things, but this is a valve guide that has been running for years, and then all of a sudden has a problem. So I said, screw it. Let's take all the rocker arms off it. Let's take all of the push rods out of it, and we're not going to take the lifters out of it because obviously it opens up a lifter oil passage. I said, let's just take all that stuff off of here. We'll drive it to the hotel because I can fix it there easy. Stevie Jackson's going to meet us there with stuff. Let's just take it to the hotel. So we put one side of the motor back together, put the valve cover on this side, 4 exhaust valves stuck open, no rocker arms, no push rods, started the car up, drove it 40 miles to the hotel, tore it all apart, got the old valve guide hone out there, and it's just honing the crap out of it, checking it with the valve. Yep, it's like, holy crud, that's a loose. Oof, loose. But whatever, it's going to be what it is. 2:17 a.m. in the morning, had it all put back together and ready to run. We actually did start it up real quick just to verify that it would start. Made everybody mad. Then we went to sleep for a couple hours, got back up, drove it to the track, didn't have any more problems. Very, very interesting because I'm trying to figure out why it went from never having a problem for years in complete events and then all of a sudden has a problem. I know how to fix the problem, but didn't think there was a problem because there never was a problem before. All right, so that is how this whole exhaust guide thing happened. But now I'm going to show you some other stuff, including the intake manifold, which is absolutely crazy. Another deal that I've never seen happen in my entire life. And, well, actually 2 of them, because I've never seen that happen in my entire life, where the intake manifold top blows off that high. And the other thing that Ned Dunphy did was absolutely amazing. But let's go check out, I wanted to show you Alan Whitaker's car with the SMX, which is beautiful. We also have a little update on Clark, and then the final pass from Bailey. All right, we haven't got to be able to spend any time over here with Alan Whitaker and his Nova with the SMX in it.
Monte Carlo.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I Nova. I should just shoot myself. It's not a Nova, obviously. It's a Monte Carlo, and it is a really, really pretty car. Alan doesn't have his license, so they've not been allowing him to run full passes as of yet, but did go 760, 194. Yep. And this car weighs 4240.
Yes.
44,240 pounds. And it is a very, very pretty, extremely overly stocked piece. When you look at it, it's just, you know, the cushy original seats. I don't even know how they do all that. But anyways, very cool, super clean, super nice car. Somebody told me that I didn't know this. You had this from the beginning.
since I was 17 years old. It's my first car.
So that's like 65 years ago?
Pretty close to about your age, yeah, Steve. Yeah, we're the same age. Dirt, water, mud. Yeah.
Yeah, so since 17 years old, that's awesome. Yep. Is there any fiberglass on this car?
The hood's fiberglass.
The hood is fiberglass? Okay.
It still weighs like 65 pounds.
Yeah, it's not even light.
No, it's hideous. But hey, when you got an SMX in it and you make this kind of power, it doesn't matter what it weighs. These things are awesome engines. They fly.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Yeah, so that's one of the great things. I mean, the thing is just driving, doing its deal. Traffic, heat, doesn't matter what. It just keeps on trucking, and it's
boring. I mean, to be honest with you, you really need to do something to screw this up because I'm really not having anything to work on. I've been kind of bored, Steve. So,
well, Ed knows how to blow the intake lid off of there.
Yeah,
he could probably show you how to do that.
But the thing is, okay, here's a good testament for your engines. Ned can throw the intake 300 foot in the air. He comes driving by and gives me thumbs up.
I know,
That's
it's amazing.
Not a testament on how tough these engines are. Holy
Yep.
smoke. And how good he is. That guy's a worker.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. Can you put a filter on this for the drive?
No.
Okay.
I know a good engine builder.
Yeah. Yep. Very, very cool. All right, we're going to go out there and watch this because I want to see, what are you going to try doing?
I'd like to go out. If we could go put a nice little 720, 730 pass together, I'd be happy today. And then...
That'd be 200 mile an hour.
That'd be 200
this
mile
car.
an hour, yeah. So what I'd like to see is, I've got consistently 20s because I'm not allowed to run faster than 10s.
Yeah.
So I'm going for a perfect 100 score at a 2023 drag week.
There you go. Okay, this thing with Ned Dunphy's intake manifold, freaking insane. That is amazing. I'm standing behind the car. Here's the pass here. Standing behind the car. This thing takes off. It is really on a mission. And I said to myself, whoa, that thing is hot. And hot as in really fast. And all of a sudden, at about 1,000 foot, this thing is, actually about 8th mile. Boom! And something flies up in the air. It is a couple 100 foot in the air. And I thought, oh cow, it's something with the intake or not the intake, it's something with the carbon fiber, probably a piece of the hood, something blew off of it and it's really light and it like flies around up there. It was not. It was this. This same style, Ned's is blue. It was this intake manifold lid. It was absolutely crazy. So this thing, what had happened is that we don't know, I don't think it was anything mechanical. I'll tell you why in a second. I think it probably picked up some kind of ignition glitch or something like that because it showed a manifold spike right there. It data logged it right there, just boom, spike. I don't think there's anything mechanical because after it blew this manifold lid off, a couple 100 foot in the air, they go out in the field, find it. It is just broken or pulled all the threads, all of these threads out of all of these bolts all the way around, broken these bolts right here, and didn't even bend the flange. Nothing bent. They literally, as even Ned has video on it, literally put it back on, put a couple bolts, got some new bolts, put a couple bolts in it, longer, threaded it down with silicone, started it up, and drove it 187 miles. I don't think there's anything mechanically wrong with it. They literally put this part back on and drove it 187 miles. Now, it wasn't, obviously it wasn't boost rated any longer. I mean, there's like 2 bolts holding on, some duct tape and silicone. So all Ned wanted to do was drive it there, break the beams, and finish his very first drag week. Excellent job, Ned. This whole explosion thing was crazy. Now, answering questions. Why did it not blow off or blow out my burst panel? Interesting thing. I only have theories on why this did this. And here's my little analogy for it. If you had a bomb go off in the streets would you be more surprised that it knocked out a great big pane of glass and didn't break out the little window that's like this big below it or beside it? You'd probably think nothing of it. You'd say, well, of course it blew off the great big piece, and it just didn't happen to blow the little one. Great big piece. Lots of surface area. Small piece, small surface area. I think possibly that type of explosion inside the intake manifold maybe was so fast, so large, in boost, in power, in I don't really know, but I think that it makes the most logical sense that this is so much surface area, it just picked on this immediately. Now, if we maybe would have had this all bolted down with these are all 1024 screws. There's 42 of them, I think. Maybe if they were all 3/8 bolts, maybe it would probably wouldn't have ever popped this first. It probably would have popped this, but it probably would still do some damage, because these blow off valves, they're not really designed to blow everything off. If you ever see the blower cars like the nitromethane or the top alcohol cars, very common that they'll blow the blower off and still leave the burst panel intact. Sometimes they'll pop the burst panel and not blow the blower, but it seems that a lot of times, maybe most of the time, I don't know, but a lot of times it blows the blower off and not the burst panel. So if a burst panel was 100% dead set, you have this burst panel in there, and regardless of what goes on in the intake manifold, it'll never blow the blower off. They wouldn't make them put restraints on blowers. It's only logical. If you had something that always worked 100% of the time, why put restraints on the blowers to keep the blowers from landing in somebody's lap? So I think that's all along the same route. So very interesting. Good question. I don't know the exact answer, but I think it has to do with some kind of surface area, what's all there, maybe the type of explosion back, because it's not a pressure thing. It was only 50 pounds of boost. It was a very definite spike, maxed out the sensor, so several hundreds of pounds or more in there. And the height this thing achieved is absolutely amazing. And to be just able to, I mean, I looked at it and I go, look down the edges of it, look down the edges, I go, it's not even warp, put it back on. To literally just put it back on and it runs and goes is absolutely amazing. All right, just found Ned. They just pulled in. He's a bad mother. Check this out. So this is the car that yesterday blew the top. It had a engine backfire in the intake manifold. So something electronic, something happened, because it wasn't anything mechanical. Blew the entire lid off of the intake manifold at least 200 freaking feet in the air. They went and found the intake manifold lid, put it all back on, and drove it here, and drove it 200 miles. This whole section of the hood was gone. It doesn't even look that bad. Fire through the windshield. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Awesome. Let's go talk to Ned. All right, Ned. You're one bad mother trucker made it here. Put the manifold back together.
A little bit of duct tape.
Did you have to? Was there anything with the injectors? Did you have to re-O-ring the injector? The bottom ones were fine. So you put the manifold back together.
Yep.
We drove it 200 miles.
Half the screws in with a whole bunch of oxygen black. Set it down there. With some of the screws out, it was sucking in. We couldn't figure it out. We thought it was a map sensor. We changed the map sensor, and then we couldn't figure it out. We thought it was something else. We realized all those holes had to be closed off.
Oh,
so we put the duct tape on there. She fired right up. We went high five. We hit the road.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Smooth sailing last night. 50 mile an hour. We just kept it easy because we don't want to break anything else. We rolled in about 12:30 last night.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you're gonna break the beams. So this is a big deal because you have completed your very first drag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's drag and drive event in the first one.
Yep.
You're the fastest car here currently. Still have the fastest pass.
ET and mile per hour, right?
ET and mile per hour.
Yeah.
I let the other guys go fast, but I hope that doesn't fall. I want to keep that for the week.
You'll probably keep it because I don't think we go. I don't know if we'll go 40 or not. But
Okay. I'll be rooting for you, but I hope not.
Yep. So this thing has been totally awesome. Jay's over there, hard-working man. This is. I said that I think you guys got it. You're the badasses for the week.
Oh.
Absolutely. With the harmonic balancer, we had to change springs. You didn't have to do it. We didn't have spring work last night, did we?
I don't know.
Okay. Yes. So all that looked good. And then blow the intake manifold lid off.
Yep.
You guys should have quit probably 3 times ago.
Yeah. We said the same thing.
And didn't do it. So party on. That's the way to do it.
This was awesome, man. This was so much fun.
Now you can see it sick week. And
We get that thing dialed in?
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll match race. We gotta make sure we match race the wagon. That'll be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you.
Let's go over here and talk to Clarky real quick.
Alrighty. Clarky's here. Everything looks good here. Gonna come in. We're gonna try going fast, aren't we?
Yep.
All right. Shiny. All right. I see Ned pulled in somewhere. Oh, we're gonna come back up. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna put a tune in this, and we need to get it to lead a little bit harder. I think track's gonna be good today.
We got new tires. We're good.
New tires, everything. So we'll see what we can do. Hopefully.
Now, the most amazing thing that I've ever seen anybody do, Ned Dunphy did, before the intake manifold blew off. We were changing some valve springs on it. I think we had a bad batch of valve springs because Clark never broke a valve spring, and Alan never broke a valve spring. But for some reason, Ned had broken some intake valve springs. So I had next day aired a set of valve springs there for him. They're changing it, and all of a sudden Jay comes over to get me and says, "Hey man, I think we got a problem." Actually, Ned came over to get me, and I go, "Okay." So I come over there. Now, if you know how this stuff works, they had taken the valve spring off and they had air pressurizing the cylinder. Problem was all of a sudden, I don't know how, all the air left the cylinder. This valve literally fell all the way down to hit the bottom of the piston. Basically like that. Alright? So this valve has gone all the way down in the bottom of the piston. You can see in this little hole, in the valve guide hole, I don't know if you can see how far down it is, how far down that is. These guides are 3 1/4 inches long. It was all the way down at the bottom, and they show me what happened. I look down in that hole and I see the valve down there, and I go, so I'm just sitting there and I'm just thinking, and I'm going, I don't know. Holy cow. I said, I mean, I can see it's just like just hanging into the very, very, very bottom of the valve guide. I go, all right, well, our worst case scenario is we have to take the head off and fix it. You got a spare valve if we ruin it. So I guess we'll try to like roll the engine over, and hopefully the piston will just like push the valve up a little bit without bending it. I'm hoping that the piston will come up here, which is very hard because this is on a compound angle. The piston's going this way. The valve is coming down on is on its own angle, and so it's going to be pushing it on an angle. And I go, but what the heck? I mean, we got nothing left to try there. And so we kind of wiggle it back and forth, and I could see that it was just starting to move. I said, oh, sweet, I think it just moved. Then the most amazing thing that I ever seen was Ned goes, I think I can put this hose on the valve guide, and I can suck that valve up out of the cylinder bore. I'm not kidding you. And he did. He freaking did. Ned sucks that valve up. And so here's what it was. So the hose is on there. He goes, okay. I said, all right, let's check it. He pulls the hose off. There's the valve stem. Ned or Jay, or I don't remember which one. Somebody grabs it, and it's like, it was party time. It was the most amazing thing. Somehow, some way, that valve dropped all the way down there. Managed to wiggle it around a little bit with a piston and suck it up with a hose.
About the lifter problem, and he's going to try and squeak ahead of that guy in class. That means he needs to run in the 8.
Oh my gosh!
Actually, either 850 is not.
Insane crazy. Super cool. Ain't ever seen anything like that before. So that's a little that is just I don't even know what to say about it. I thought it was really amazing and cool. So then they finish changing the valve springs, everything's awesome. Then they blow a manifold lid off of it. And then they fix that. Crazy. So anyways, let's go. I'll cover Bailey's last pass here. So you just saw that last pass there. That's the pass that put the nail in the coffin for Drag Week 2023. And you can see right at the very beginning, it shook the tire fairly hard. And when it did that, it turned the car to the right. And so Bailey drives through that tire shake. But that thing, if you see, it is like over towards the guardrail all the way down. So he's steering, but the front wheels are off the ground, so you're kind of he's trying to pedal a little bit to get the front wheel down so he can save the pass. That's why the thing goes 670. And only at like a 201 or 203, whatever it is, because he bailed out of it early. Which, justifiably so. But it was enough pass that we could win Drag Week, and after that, I was all prepped up. We were all ready to go back out and make another pass. And I think if all I was going to do is just tune that shake out of it, we should have been able to go a low 50, which would be the normal tune-up for that, maybe a high 40. And that would have been just a nice little add-on. But didn't need to do it. He won, so we didn't go back out. So all things considered, Ned ended up making the fastest pass of the week at a 640 at 236 mile an hour with his SMX powered Viper. Amazing amount of problems and issues, like dropping a valve into the chamber and being able to suck it up with a hose, blowing the intake manifold off, digging it out of the field, putting it all back on and driving it. Amazing accomplishment he did. Alan really had a good weekend. That car is going, I think he ran a best of a 740 something on his big old heavy Monte Carlo. He didn't have one problem with the engine whatsoever. Clark was going 205, I think it was 205, yeah. 205, 203, 200 something. And then it wasn't till the day 4 that all of a sudden it picked up a problem where it was going out and shutting off. And then day 5, we could not get this thing figured out. It's got some kind of fuel problem. Something is going away and changing on Clark Steel. So all things said and done, another real successful drag week. 6-time overall champion, not a class champion, but that's the overall champion of all of it. 6 times now for Bailey. And so super proud of that. Looking forward to doing more, and there's a 20th anniversary coming up for Drag Week next year. And of course, we've got Sick Week. Absolutely going to be at Sick Week. Plan on doing really well, Lord willing. And maybe do Drag Week. Maybe plan on doing really well there too. Never know. So, I am Steve Morris. This is Steve Morris Engines. Like, subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed. Gotta check again. I don't know what YouTube's got going on. I don't know why they keep on unsubscribing people. It's really irritating. So then you don't get notifications and stuff. And if you get a chance, go buy some merch. I appreciate it. Have a great day.